Alright, so I just got back from watching Tron Ares, the third Tron film. The last one, Tron Legacy, came out, believe it or not, 15 years ago. So it's been a while. I don't believe that movie was a big success at the box office, but it developed I don't want to say cult following, but it did develop a following over the years when it came onto DVD and Blu-ray and digital streaming eventually and all that stuff. And so Disney's like, hey, there's a fan base here. Let's make another one, see if it can make any money. So my connection to the Tron movies is I like them. I don't love them. I think they are more aesthetically pleasing than they are, pleasing in a storytelling sort of way. They're not high art necessarily, but the music and just the overall vibe, just the setting of the grid, right? The Tron world looks really cool. And I think the more the movie leans into that stuff, the more successful it is. Unfortunately, I think Tron Ares does the exact opposite of what they should have done for a third movie. I think the reason why people love Tron Legacy so much is because it is basically the entire movie takes place in the grid, in this digital world, and it's new and exciting and exotic. Also the reason why people like the Avatar movies. They're not the most original when it comes to storytelling, but the world is so cool that we like it anyway. And I feel like Tron is similar to that, but this movie mostly takes place in the real world where people from the grid come into the real world and are interacting with humans and stuff. And that's just not very interesting to me. Because I've seen so many movies where a robot learns to be human. And that's what this movie is. And that can be interesting, that can be done well, but it's not done well here because our main character, Ares, when we first meet him, he already wants to be a human, but we never learn why. At least I don't remember the movie ever really telling me why he wants to be a human. He just does. He just wants to be human and he's special and none of the other programs want to be human, but he does, and we don't know why. And so we don't really have any emotional investment in him or any of the other characters, really, because they're all so boring and stock, and they say generic things. The bad guy does generic bad guy things. The heroes do generic hero things. Even the comedy is generic, where I could predict the jokes as I was hearing their setups. I'm like, and the joke's going to be this. Yep. Which is a bit of a bummer because I do think the first two Trons, like I said, are not high art. They're not absolute cinema or anything, but they are quite pleasant to watch. They're pleasing, and I think they're fun movies that you can show to like young kids to make them feel a little older because they're slightly edgier, especially Tron Legacy. And this is just a big flat nothing, in my opinion. It's just whatever. It doesn't take place in the digital world that much. So the digital world, the cool factor is gone. There is some cool parts of seeing, Tron, grid people, programs interacting with real people, but it still would have been a lot more interesting if we were in this cool new grid world. But unfortunately, we don't. And again, the cameos, there's a couple cameos and Easter eggs here, but they don't do much for me, really. It's just like, oh, there, that's the thing. Even the cameos, honestly, and Easter eggs were predictable. This whole movie is just very, very basic. It's not absolute trash. Like, it's a competently made movie, and if you just want to watch a fun movie and you don't have any love for Tron, and you just want to watch a movie that has some action in it and kind of some cool special effects, you might have a good time with this. But if you want something a little more, something that is within the legacy of the first couple Tron movies, I don't think this is it. I think this is a pretty unworthy sequel when it comes to Tron and what it could be. So kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Those are my thoughts on Tron Ares.